Boudoir.
All right, cool.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Bucko Brew, powered by DeFair Coffee and Tea. This is the North Shore 9 podcast presented by FanDuel. I'm your host, Antwone DiNardo. With me, we have... we don't have Jim. We have Neil with us. Neil, welcome to Bucko Brew. I think this is their Bucko Brew debut, right?
Second time.
Okay.
I was on a long time ago for Pirate Fests. You know, the one where they had all the balls and the huge controversy with all the people they were selling. It was
that one.
Yeah.
I do recall because you were there.
Yeah.
So we had you on to talk your Pirates Fest experience. Yeah, this year was a lot better than that one, so that's good. This offseason seems a lot better than that one. And therefore, this spring training seems a lot better than that spring training.
I mean, they're 8-2.
Like you said, Buccos are going to the World Series, right?
Yes, yeah. There is no team better than the Buccos right now in baseball.
Absolutely. So with this Bucko Brew, we figured we'd talk a little about like the fifth starter role, and then from there maybe lead into the depth of the pitching. Because I mean, again, we've talked about, well, I shouldn't say we because we haven't been here, but like us as the brand, I feel like we talk about Connor Griffin every single day, and there's at least 2 shows a day, so that's at least twice a day. Rightfully so. Producer Cody says sometimes 3 shows.
Yeah, I mean, like he has taken full attention at spring training. I mean, and it makes sense. Like, you know, I think he's the first teenager to homer 3 times in the history of spring training. Like that's a pretty big deal, and we're rightfully excited.
Yeah.
After watching that offense last year, having like a phenom shortstop prospect is a cool thing to have.
Right.
But we have talked about him a lot over the last week.
Well, yeah, but again, like I mentioned, like rightfully so. I mean, he just hit his 3rd home run yesterday. Of course, it was his 3rd hit. All homers. But like, I mean, you look at the numbers within the numbers. I mean, he's had 7 hard hit as well.
Over 100 miles an hour, which is what you're looking for. Like at spring training, the results don't matter. It's about the process.
Yeah.
And even though he's not getting like singles or whatever, and I think Doug yesterday was like, I wish Connor Griffin would hit a double. And I'm, you know, like it's everything you want to see from a kid that young. And, you know, I don't think there's anyone in his way from getting the opening day shortstop position if he continues like this.
It's all on him, you know, and we're going to probably use that quote over and over again from Colin Beasley, where like leave no doubt. And that's the thing. Like, obviously you can say like it's been just 3 hits, you know, and like that's not great. The batting average isn't great. But when you look at exit velocity, what we talk about with 7 over 100 miles an hour, that's something that's predictive. Like you mentioned, that's what you want to see in spring. Spring training stats don't matter. Well, the thing in baseball too is small sample size. Yeah, like extreme small sample size. What can you take from the small sample? You know, there's been a little bit of unluckiness, right? Like that one also could have been home run. We could talk about this 4th hit, which is 4 home runs.
Yeah.
You know, like he's been hitting the ball very well. So again, we talk about baseball. Once the sample starts to normalize, because of what he is doing right now, you assume and expect things will look obviously better, and you know that average will be there. He'll hit actually more than, you know, what he hits for home runs this year.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, I'm forever scarred by Kevin Newman in terms of spring training stats.
Sure,
like 2021
has
been the like. I can't ever trust anything that happens results wise in the field, but I can tell, you know, I like to think my eye test is good. Connor Griffin passes the eye test, even in spring training.
Yeah, when you have like 30 hit balls that are all like 60 miles an hour and your batting average is 750, that you might look and say like maybe this isn't sustainable. No, therefore it wasn't. But on the other side, when you look and see 7 balls hit over 100 miles an hour, you know, one was robbed at the fence also, which could have been the 4th home run. Maybe balls will start dropping for him in the real world. So again, we're not going to talk about Connor Griffin as we open about Connor Griffin. We do want to talk about the 5th starter spot here. You know, yesterday Hunter Barco had a start.
He was excellent.
He was. Coffee and tea are one of life's simplest and most accessible pleasures, and when enjoyed thoughtfully, can open your eyes to the here and now. They have 5 locations across the city of Pittsburgh, including their flagship in the heart of Pittsburgh's historic Strip District. Don't forget to stop by the fair's new location downtown on Penn Avenue, right across from the Bradenton. Grab a cup and fuel up on your walk to PNC Park. Mobile ordering is available. Check out their Instagram for more details. And of course, that is DeFair.com. coffee. And yourself, I'm not sure if you're even aware. You should, but I'll make sure we tell the people and yourself. If you go to DeFair Coffee, you can save yourself 30% just by using promo code NS930. Of course, NS930 for the 30% on your very first order. So if you go online, they say they have plenty of products, plenty of coffee, tea, and again, just items that you can purchase. 30% off. Use code NS930.
Beautiful. Sounds great.
So
I'm not a coffee drinker, but I might be a good. Yeah, sounds like a good Christmas gift.
It is. It's a very good Christmas gift, but don't wait 10 more months to do so.
No, exactly. I take the deal right now. Yeah.
It's also a great spring training gift.
Yeah.
But yeah. So again, getting back to like that fifth starter spot. There's a few names that are battling for it. Again, like one you mentioned, Hunter Barco, who did have a start yesterday. We talked a little bit about yesterday on the recap, but to go a little bit further, I think about the starter position. I mean, there's Jose Urquidy, who they signed. He has experience. He was with Houston's system. Bill Murphy, obviously very familiar with them. You would look at some degree, he's the veteran now. He doesn't have a whole lot of major league innings log behind him.
No.
But, he is the presence that comes in. Like, I've been here before and I've won.
And I mean, we hired guys from Houston to work on the pitching staff. He's probably very familiar with the guys on the staff. If I had to guess, I would say he's probably got the inside track just based off his veteran presence and like familiarity with pitching in the majors at a start level as opposed to Mlodzinski or Barco.
Right.
But I think a lot will ride like, what we see, especially tomorrow when he faced off against the Colombian team. But if I had to guess, I think the Pirates are probably looking at him. I've heard that like the Pirates really, really like this guy.
I mean, as they should. I mean, he's been a fine pitcher. It's really just been the injuries that have derailed him the past few years and such. So he hasn't had those innings. Like when he was with Houston and, he's part of their rotation. He was a mainstay there. He was productive. I mean, there was nothing that shined. It wasn't like, Garrett Cole when he was in Houston back in the day. Like this guy was just a complete ace and solid in that sense. But he was exactly what you want in not even a fifth starter, like a fourth starter, even a three starter. Yeah. I mean, the ERA mid threes, he logged some innings, the strikeouts weren't high, but he was just effective pitcher. And we know what this rotation has. It has a lot of, I keep saying, like the sexiness. There's a lot of stuff in there, right? But there's not a whole lot of, we've done it before. Healthy.
This is he has what, like 70 innings since 2023,
something
I
like
think
that.
It's like that, and so like that's a big problem. Like you don't know exactly how much that you can really give you in terms of that, but I could see him as like kind of like a nice thing that gets you through like April, May, potentially even June. And then if you're worried about like the arm load, then like that's when you bring up Barco or you start piggybacking him with Mlodzinski, because I know they like Mlodzinski as a starter as well. And so just like trying to find ways to bridge gaps, kind of way they used Luis Ortiz before they traded him to the Cleveland. So I would be interested if he even has a rotation spot for the whole year, but I definitely do think he starts on the MLB roster. But I'm excited to see him pitch because it's always cool to see like what guys look like coming back from injury that long, especially when he used to be a good pitcher. He was a good, reliable pitcher.
And like, I think you make a really good point too. Like, I do think in the best situation, maybe that's not the best way to put it. I mean, like probably the best situation is the most talented pitcher to start there from day 5 or day 1. But like, I think what makes the most sense, like what the Pirates are probably wanting to see is him to kind of reclaim a bit of that form. To show like, hey, I can handle that 5 spot, because in like this ideal world, you want him when he's healthy. Like if you're concerned about the healthy, well, he's healthy now. Yeah. Give me the innings, because like you mentioned about maybe calling Hunter Barco up late. Like that's why I think of this ideal world. Hunter Barco doesn't have the innings. He has that injury past as well. It's like you're still ramping him up. You're still trying to get him to where you want him to be. Like maybe next year's the year we start thinking like full load, but this year's not the year. So like I keep talking to like to some level, you probably want him on that like Bubba, that Skeens load where it's like, hey, we're going to put you in AAA, go out there and pitch 3 innings. Yeah. And come out to save those innings for later in the year. You have Urquidy giving you those innings now. Right, hopefully effective, but also like keep in mind then Jared Jones coming back at the end of May. So it's like let's get those innings now while you're healthy in here, because we do have some reinforcements coming. Yeah,
I also kind of was forgetting about Jared Jones, but yeah, he's probably coming in. Urquidy doesn't have a spot in the rotation, but even so, I feel like he's a good guy that can slot into your bullpen. Like, I know we talked about this with Jared Jones, just like with Mlodzinski, like, making sure he doesn't have to go 6 innings each time he's coming back from a major injury. So I think when you have all this pool of like talented but like injured pitchers, it's not ideal, but you can finagle it where like you're basically kind of like creating starts out of the aggregate with multiple people instead of like, burning through people's arms like Oviedo in 2023.
Right.
And that's something I really want to avoid. No one wants to see like, like Urquidy like suffering to 150 innings. His body clearly can't handle it.
Right. Absolutely. But like, again, like you mentioned a good point there too. Like if he is healthy, like you do have arms coming in, like he's also a guy that could give you like the bulk innings in the bullpen. It's not as if like he's just gone and thrown away. I mean, Jared Jones comes in and he's still pitching effectively, right? Or Hunter Barco comes in, like you can still put him. And he's also like, in the bullpen, a much different look. I think he could be effective. It's not going to be like Carmen Mlodzinski where he goes from the rotation to the bullpen and he just turns it up a whole nother notch. But he'll certainly be a completely different look in the bullpen. And right, like obviously he could give you those multiple inning, use it a different way. We saw how they've been using that reliever role for the past few years. Like maybe he's a starter for 2 innings, and then you bring in Hunter Barco or Mlodzinski or whoever it is, Jared Jones. But yeah, there's certainly a role on him, but I do think it makes sense. And again, it was just one start. You didn't see much. You mentioned tomorrow he'll be starting against Columbia. You do want to see more out of him and see what he has, but I do think he has effective stuff to be a starter for sure.
Yeah, and I think. In terms when the market is what it looks like right now in terms of free agent starting pitchers, I don't really blame them for like sticking with Urquidy instead of like trying to go drop like 17 million on Lucas Giolito. Yeah, I feel like it makes
sure Bob is feeling pretty good about that too.
And Bob doesn't want to get that either. But like, so I'm excited to see him, and it's kind of like a new shiny toy. You don't exactly know what we're gonna get out of him, but I am excited. So.
Yeah, and again, we talk about Hunter Barco to some degree, and to talk a little more about him, we spent a lot on Jose at this point because we think he's going to be there, but Hunter Barco, I think obviously like when he does make the rotation, it's most likely going to be after the first few months in my point of view, but like when he does, we're seeing what he can do, and this is why there's a lot of talk about this rotation, how good they can be, because Hunter Barco yesterday, I know we didn't get to actually watch it, so I can't say it on like that perspective, but seeing what transpired, looking at StatCast, seeing the swing and miss stuff, seeing how many strikes he threw, how effective he was, it just kind of reiterates and doubles down of like how good of a pitcher he actually can be.
Yeah, it sucks because I really wanted to watch him. Like we wanted to watch Ashcraft pitch against Houston. We wanted to watch Barco yesterday, and we couldn't watch either. But no, the Savant bubbles and the Savant stuff looks great. 11 whiffs, 100% whiff rate on the fastball. I think.
Yeah. And 7 out of 5.
7 out of 5.
I think it was on the slider.
Slider was 2 out of 3.
Maybe.
Well, 11 lifts regardless. Like just like a really, really good performance. He went 3 innings, 0 runs. He gave up 0 hits. I think it was just a walk. And the stuff looks filthy.
Hit. There was 1 hit in the game yesterday. I think there's one hit, unearned run out of it too.
Okay. So like everything you want to see out of a young prospect, like good stuff, striking people out, making people look stupid. Like I feel like Barco has surprised me. I didn't think he looked this good coming out of spring training.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to kind of highlight again, like you mentioned, with like the fastball. It was 7 swing and misses out of 15 swings on the fastball.
Yeah,
this wasn't like the secondary stuff, which also did look good according to that. But like I said, he threw predominantly fastball yesterday as well.
Yeah,
he attacked these hitters and they still could not hit it. They couldn't make any type of contact. So yeah, like he has the stuff. It's just like, can he log the innings? Can he last? That's something you're probably looking this year to still like rebuild, build up, or I should say, or like maybe next year, a lot of these guys you feel more comfortable with. That's the worry this year with this rotation. The rotation there's a lot of really good, talented pitchers. It's just like, are there innings there?
Yeah.
How are we going to get the innings? So again, when you talk about these guys, but to throw in that too, like, so there's Hunter Barco we talk about. We haven't really talked too much about Carmen Mlodzinski, and that was put out there that the Pirates got to approach him like that. We're interested in looking at you as a potential starter as well. Is that just like hey, let's see what happens? Is it also just like hey, we're going to need some innings in spring training as well because it's WBC that's happening. We're going to lose some pitchers, so let's entertain you as a starter and see what happens. Like Jason Mackey put out there an article just talking about the stuff that he's like revamped and how comfortable he felt more at the second half of the year with his pitches that he didn't have the first year. Like he incorporated a splitter. He was talking a lot with like David Bednar about it. The pitch sequence thing, like the first half when he was the starter, he wasn't real comfortable with a lot. And then the second half when he went back to the bullpen, all that also came together where it's like, well, if I had this, I probably could have been an effective starter.
Yeah.
Also the curveball incorporated. Like, so he was a different pitcher second half. And with that, he didn't really get the opportunity to start again to prove like, hey, I can do this. So again, like I'm not opposed to seeing it. You know, I firmly in my mind, I'm like, hey, Carmen, just be the dude that you are in the bullpen because that's an effective weapon, but I'm willing to entertain seeing it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel on that.
I mean, if there was another starter here, like if they had managed to get Quintana back or something like that, I think it'd be, no, you're going to the 7th inning role. That's just where you're going to be. And we're going to be really good in the 7th inning because of that.
Right.
But I think, you know, with Jared Jones coming back from injury, with Barco and Urquidy, like not necessarily having like the best bill of health, it does make a lot of sense to try this out again.
Yeah.
Am I convinced it's going to work? Not really. I think he's so good focusing and locking in for those 1 to 2 innings when you really need it. And that I when I watched him last year, I know he didn't have like all the pitches, but you could kind of tell he really started running out of steam after that second inning, and that's okay. Like I think he's going to be a really, really effective reliever. But that said, the Pirates would be dumb not to try it. Like that's what spring training is for. Like you should be trying this type of stuff out. And so I'm excited. We'll watch him. I'm excited to see him in the bullpen this year. And if he wins that 5th starter spot, it means that he beat 2 good pitchers. Like Barco's looked good.
Yeah.
And Urquidy hopefully had like a, you know, good career up to this point. So I can't be too mad no matter what happens.
Yeah. No, again, like that is a really good perspective. If he does win it, he beat out some dudes that you thought could win it too. So that's probably means that's, you know, he looked really good doing so.
Yeah. Like last year, did he have any competition for that 5th spot?
Bubba.
Yeah.
Like I said, I guess you could argue Bubba.
Yeah.
Which it was, you know, there were some up and downs, but was he going to make it out there and he didn't? I mean, like you could maybe say, but it wasn't like this year, I think. Like that's maybe a good point.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like how it is this year where some of these guys like Hunter Barco could make it. You know, like absolutely. I don't think there's like a worry of, you know, service time innings was more or less, but like I feel like it's almost like he has like the Jared Jones. Like if he goes out there and proves it, he's going to start.
Yeah.
You know, and if not, maybe again, if other people beat him out, then it makes them more comfortable putting him in AAA to do this thing. So like it's a true competition, I feel.
It is. And it's one of the more exciting things to like watch because like, you know, like you can't take much result wise from spring training, but you can take what pitchers look like and how their pitches look. Because even though they're kind of going out and just like messing around with their stuff, it does show like what is being worked on and how their pitches have developed. And so if Carmen Mlodzinski has actually developed a couple new pitches like that curveball, like you said, and he makes him an effective starter, that's just another huge win for us. Yeah. And so that's going to be fun to watch too. So I'm excited. And
like eventually, like obviously when these guys come, maybe he is relegated to the bullpen. Like that's still the weapon there. Like you still want to see this stuff. And it's kind of what's a takeaway here is though it's oddly enough like we haven't really seen Carmen pitch much.
Yeah, it's weird.
So
like, we're 10 games in and he hasn't really pitched at all.
Right. So hopefully we get to see more of him again. Obviously with the WBC, hopefully you know we'll see more of that. But like going back to what you said too about like what they're trying to see who's pitching well. It's like again, understand results don't matter.
Yeah,
they know what they're working on. The team knows what they're working on. What they're trying to accomplish. They're zoomed in, seeing how that's going. Like hey. Do this with a fastball or do you know this with sequencing, whatever it might be. They're looking on that. They're not focused on the results. And it's like, okay, he's doing this. We feel comfortable. Like, yeah, that fastball is nasty in this way. That will play, even though the secondary stuff might got lit up. That's not what we're worried about today. Yeah. You know, or like if it was the curveball, like how do I feel about the curveball? That curveball that's coming in. Yeah. That's what I need to be an effective pitcher, and that's working. Okay, now we feel more comfortable. So again, it's not so much the results that are mattering. It's what they're trying to accomplish and how well they're doing with that. Almost like going back to the Bubba quotes. Hey, what I did in that first inning is exactly what I wanted. And that first inning looked great. Yeah. The second inning was toast. It was trash. But like in Bubba's eyes, at least in that sense, like that didn't matter. I did what I came out to accomplish. Now, to some level, like I still want to throw strikes, but that's what I'm trying to put the strike. I'm not trying to absolve Bubba, but I'm trying to say like, that's the mentality. Like, what are they trying to do? Did they accomplish that? That's what they're kind of looking into at some level. But like I want to bring this up. So it's a good question. Steel City does ask, is the ideal fall rotation Skeens, Keller, Ashcraft, Bubba, and Jones? And I would say, yeah, like I think ideally that's what you're hoping to have.
It's hard to dispute. I mean, like if Jared Jones is coming out as your 5th starter, that's a really, really good rotation. Like that it is a playoff rotation. And as cool as like an Urquidy like resurgence would be, or Barco resurgence, like I think those are your 5 core guys. All of them in some capacity have proved they've been able to pitch at the MLB level. I know like in Chandler's case, it's not a little bit of Jones's case, it's been a little bit of a short sample size, but you know the stuff is there. And like all of like Skeens, Jones, and Ashcraft and all those guys have shown the ability to pitch with sub 3 ERA stuff.
Oh, for sure.
And that's something most teams don't have. So yeah, these are guys are just trying to bridge the gap until we get that fully healthy rotation. If we ever get that fully healthy rotation.
And that's why it's always an if, and that's why you always need arms. We're talking like it would still be nice if they add another starter into the mix.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like that's going to be the case, at least at this point in time. But absolutely, I think that's the ideal thing. Like you mentioned, like numbers are numbers. I mean, those 5 guys, that's the thing about them. The talent those 5 guys have, all of them can be 1, 2, or 3s, like in a rotation. So you're talking about some of those being like a 4 or 5, like whoever that might end up being. You know, like this is a 5. Those are 5 guys that you trust. Like they can go out there, they can compete. Yeah, hands down. They can go out there and win you a game.
And what's really fun about the playoffs, if we get there, like big if,
right?
But like you know, it's like you're not pitching a full 5-man rotation. Like you're kind of going like 1 through 3, 1 through 4, and then you might just have Jared Jones come in and pitch 2 to 3 innings twice a week and just shut people down with his fastball and slider. And that's also a really cool tool you can have. You could do that with Bubba. You can do that with Ashcraft, whichever way you feel comfortable. And then you can even bring in Barco and Urquidy and guys like that to bridge that gap. And so you kind of have like this army of starters who all have great stuff, have all proven they have the ability to pitch well, and they really help bridge those long playoff games together, especially if you're in a 7 game series. So
yeah, for sure.
Really looking forward to that. But like if we make the playoffs, I feel like that's a very distinct possibility.
Absolutely. So, you know, we're talking about this 5th starter battle. I think it would be kind of cool to touch a little bit on like the depth as well outside that people don't really know too much about also. Before we do that, we do want to tell you a little bit about this as well. So this episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack, hydration, and coffee sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are delicious, low sugar brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way to try all IQ bars and flavors. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks as well. IQ bars products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. And like what's cool, over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting. More people than ever are fueling their busy lifestyles with IQ Bars, brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. Their Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. What's cool is like they're sending us down here for spring training, so we get the fuel up on the IQ Bar protein bars as well and whatnot, which I think we all need. I mean, this has been. We just got here. Listen, I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm tired. And it's going to be even more tiring when we're out in the sun all day. So, yeah, we're going to need these.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as of right now, IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text MLB to 64000. Text MLB to 664,000. I'm sorry. Text MLB to 64,000. That's MLB to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for more details. So yeah, go get yourself some IQ bars to fuel up for your beginning today. So the Fair Coffee and Tea, IQ Bar, you're set. Ready
breakfast.
to go.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So going back again, we talked about the 5th starter. Going back to talk a little more about the depth of pitching, because that's something we talked that like this team doesn't have a whole lot of depth, but I know Jim's argued this point, and again, that doesn't deter me from wanting to go like get another 5th starter. But there are some like that next tier of prospects, like these interesting arms, like the Antwone Kellys who pitched right? The Kristian Curtises who pitched yesterday, right? The Wilber Dotels that pitched the other day. Like, I feel like that next tier of pitchers, they're not really there yet. Like, they're not fighting for an opening day roster spot. You know what I mean? They're not ready. They're not progressed enough.
But there's one I would say Brandon Benoit might be fighting for an open day spot. Besides that, I agree. Most of these guys are still like a year or so away.
Yeah,
but
that's fair. But I look at that more like in the bullpen.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so and that's fair, and that's a guy. Yeah, like keep an eye out on him.
Yeah, but yeah, and I just think that like when you talk about Curtis, you talk about Dotel, you talk about all these guys. Like they're definitely like a year away, but they have been fun to watch. And like a lot of their ERAs aren't the best, but like you can just tell like these guys have at the very least a bullpen in the major league ceiling. Like Dotel specifically.
Well,
was like
floor.
What floor?
Floor,
Yeah,
right.
My bad.
Okay.
Floor. Yeah.
that changes things a lot.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Definitely the floor. You are right. And like when Dotel gets the first start of the spring training, and he comes out and like shocks everyone because me exploded. I had never heard of Wilber Dotel.
Okay.
I should pay more attention to prospect list, but for me, it's like he wasn't even on my radar. It's like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
And then he comes out and pitches like that, and no, I mean I don't know what the Pirates have tapped into, but clearly they have learned how to properly develop pitching because you're getting guys like popping up every single year about guys to get excited about. And all three of the guys that you just mentioned have really good quality stuff. And and a little bit of we've been able to watch of them. It's nice. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
No complaints.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing that Pirates have done well is develop pitchers. That's why we're talking about these starters right now. A lot of them were developed by this regime. And even the ones that weren't, like your Mitch Kellers. Mitch Keller was really, really bad to begin his career. It's like you got to hand it to this regime to some level. I know they go to Tread, and you can give Tread a lot of credit as well and whatnot, but like there's a lot of hey, this regime allowed that. He did this turnaround under this regime. And whatever you feel about Mitch Keller, I know he's polarizing as well. Yeah. But like he's a very effective pitcher for what he does. And this team needs a Mitch Keller this year.
We desperately need a Mitch Keller.
Innings, right? But like what they have done well is develop pitchers. And we talk so much about the guys that we talked about earlier. And I feel like these guys need to be talked about to some level as well, because like you mentioned, they're probably your way. However, I do think there's definitely a world where you could see any one of these three helping out the team this year at some point. Yeah. Like I said, they're not battling for an open day spot, but like there could be a day, we're talking about depth, injuries happen, there could be like, hey, it's July, I'm not trying to jinx anything, but X player went down. This one's happening. Like we need to make, some spot starts, and you're seeing Antwone Kelly make that, or Wilber Dotel make that, or Kristian Curtis make that. You talked about, I know you jokingly said ceiling by accident, but like there's also like the possibility, like, we do think there certainly could be starters, but they could also, maybe they need help in the bullpen. And like, what if you had Antwone Kelly in the bullpen? Like all the three of those guys, I think the thing about them is if they're not starters, they have the stuff to be really good bullpen arms as well.
I fully expect Antwone Kelly to be in the bullpen at some point this year.
Okay.
Like, I feel like he's probably going to project that way anyway, but like, he's just that good. And if you look at like how the Pirates do bullpen, or how any team around the league does bullpen, there's going to be 15, 20 guys or so who are going to take bullpen innings during the season.
We've all taken Alex Stump's Sporkle quiz at the end of the year at minimum.
And so like whatever you see, like the 8 guys that are on the roster are not going to be there the whole year. Right. You're going to DFA guys. Some guys are going to get injured. And so no, I 100% think some of these guys, maybe not Dotel, because like he's been starting his whole minor league career, and I imagine they want to keep it that way. But I definitely think Kelly or Benoit or other guys like that will 100% be called up at some point to, into dog days of July, try to get us through some games. And I think this wouldn't just be like a bad Band-Aid. I think they should actually be pretty solid guys in that role.
Oh, I mean, I think all of them right now could be solid in that role. Yeah, that's what we're saying. Like, it's not ideal. Like they're not. You want to make them starters. You're hoping you're developing them as starters, right? You haven't made a decision on any of them. Like, okay, this guy's not a starter. All of them can absolutely be starters, which is why you said like floor, is at least a reliever, because if not, they could be effective relievers. And I think almost all of them, all three of them, I feel like if they're fighting for actual like bullpen spots, there's a real battle there too. Like that, I feel comfortable any one of them in the bullpen like today to some level. But yeah, like. They pump gas too. At least Wilber and Antwone Kelly, they pump some gas. Wilber Dotel added that splitter last year. I mean, Alex wrote a little about it. His control got better. Like there's some interesting stuff. So we're talking about the depth. I do want to talk about them a little bit because like Kristian Curtis looked really good yesterday. We want to talk about that. Antwone Kelly looked pretty solid. These guys have this stuff that like I also think there are some possibilities where you might see these guys make some starts in the year. Like, it's not going to be part like the mainstay of the rotation. Hopefully we're not there. That's a big problem.
Yeah.
But like I feel comfortable where if you're not going out there to get the other fifth starter to really get you, like if these guys, one or two of them gave you like 2 to 4 to maybe 5 stars, something like that, like I'm probably okay with that.
Yeah, I think, and like it's kind of like they're gonna like break the glass in case of emergency type starters.
Yeah,
but like sharing
right now, things
for
could
now,
change.
yes,
I mean, we've talked about Antwone Kelly or Dotel or Kristian Curtis. In 2 months, like holy crap, look at these guys. Like it might change, but as of today, the perspective is right.
Yeah, but like Sherrington's gone on a lot about how he wants like 9 or 10 guys who can take the ball at any given time and start.
Right.
And when you trade away guys like Oviedo, guys like Burrows, which are going to be losses, I think both are going to be good MLB pitchers this year. You do have to replace that depth, and it's kind of been next man up. And that's really cool, and that's really good to see. And I mean, not to compare us to the Yankees, because I'm not sure it's like a big like comparison, but like, the Yankees keep loading up on guys. Like every year, the Yankees are shipping off highly touted prospects for MLB talent because they just are able to keep replacing people in the system. And so if the Pirates are able to do this, where they're able to bring in Lows every year by like trading from the surplus and then bringing in 3 more guys like a Kelly, like a Dotel, as more depth, and that's close to like your MLB talent, like that's a really good system to have, especially for a team like the Pirates that can't develop hitting in the same way they can't pitching.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Yankees. I always go back to the Dodgers. It's a different reason, but I think the Dodgers give the perspective of this is exactly why you need arms. Even the Dodgers can't get through a season without 10 pitchers at least,
Like 75% of the Dodgers rotation is on the IL at any given point.
Right. I mean, it was at one point like their IL had more of a payroll than the Pirates' entire payroll. That's another story, another topic, another thing we're alluding to. But like, yes, like you absolutely need arms because guys will get injured. So that's always been like our worry about this rotation. Like, adding another starter wouldn't hurt, but let's also maybe talk about the depth that is there. And there certainly is talent. So again, I do want to bring up, especially those 3 at this point, because I think that's like that next tier where there's a lot of people that don't really know who they are, right? And I think this year could be a big year of like you're going to find out who they are. It's like for the personal development, but also for the team, because there could be situations where they're needed. And I don't say I'm confident that will be there, but I'm confident that at that point in time, it'll be okay. It's not like a white flag and it's like, oh God, we got to throw in, I don't want to say names because we've done a lot of stuff behind the scenes about guessing the best Pirates from 2020 to 2025, and it's been sad. So I don't want to bring up names that like had those roles in the past. So we'll just forget it. But I'm going with. I feel better that it's those guys than some of these retreads that we brought in like 2021 that have to give you innings.
Well, that's my next point is like I wonder if the Pirates have also just kind of burned from like Rich Hill and Andrew Heaney. Like like not that they're good guys, but like those guys were leaving Pittsburgh with ERAs close on 6. And so I wonder if the calculus in the front office right now is we could go out and burn $5 million on Patrick Corbin or a Rich Hill type or an Andrew Heaney type, or we could simply just let our young guys who have better stuff work their magic and see how that goes instead. And I think that's a valid way to go about things, because like I don't since Quintana, has there really been like a good veteran 1-year deal that we've brought in that people like for the whole time he's been here people have liked?
I mean, that's a good point. That is a good point. I guess no. I guess no. That is the answer. That true veteran, like that guy you're talking about specifically. And they brought in arms that weren't veterans, but like I go to Bailey Falter in the sense, like I know it's not the same situation, but Bailey Falter was that guy. It's like, well, who is he? And then there's like, oh, okay, this trade isn't so bad after all. It actually worked out very, very well. To the point when he got traded to Kansas City last trade deadline, I blew up. Like, what are we doing here? What's going on? So I guess what I'm trying to say also is like, but it's debatable. You know, you can absolutely have this debate, like what you are saying and that perspective. If that side's more of the Pirates are thinking, that's a true debate that you can have. I mean, there's merit to that. And it does seem at this point, I mean, there's not another star that's come in. I was always fully anticipating there would be. Yeah. Since it's already March, it still can happen. Yeah. Right? It still can absolutely happen. There's still guys available. I mean, even in the comments, like you talk about Patrick Corbin, Tyler Anderson.
I mean, if
we're still there.
If we got Zach Littell on a 1-year deal, I'd be the happiest man in the world.
Yeah.
That would be great.
All three of those, you know, I think the other two can make, like, I'm not gonna be the happiest man in the world. Okay.
I mean, I am saying that if Zach Littell is your 5th starter, that's a really good rotation.
And that's what I'll allude to. Like, that'll certainly make me feel safer. And maybe what they're doing is because they're still, you mentioned 3 guys that are still available that would make you feel that way. Maybe they're just waiting it out. I mean, it makes sense. I know it sounds cheap, but like the Pirates way, like we're comfortable with any 3 of you. So whichever one's left, you know, and now you're desperate and you're willing to take this $3 million deal, you know, whatever in their eyes is like, then you're the guy. Yeah. Because it's like, it could be either one of you. We don't really care. So whoever's last and desperate, that's the one we want. Maybe that is the case. We'll find out. Because I know people have stated here, like, is Ben still looking for a 5th starter? I mean, he said he is, but the actions show like nothing's happened yet. Not hearing too much about it. So in my eyes, maybe that's just what's happening. They're just saying who's going to get desperate and take this piece of pie that we're offering, which is very below market. Yeah. But you know, at that point in time, that's what you're just going to take. Yeah, because like you have to play baseball. I would be a little worried just because, like, when you look at guys like Jordan Montgomery. And other guys who signed so late in spring training recently, like they almost never have good seasons. There's something about being in MLB camp clearly, like from the beginning of spring training, that helps guys like get ready for the season. Like you pitching your own like simulated games isn't the same effect as being in spring training games. And so I would be like a little like concerned about that. But at the same time, again, like, you know, if Giolito or Littell are there for a fair price, you have to go get those. Yeah. Yeah, very fair. So, again, I think that kind of wraps up what we wanted to discuss here and talk about because, again, we have so much content to give you. We'll be live today, of course, at noon for our podcast at LeCom, where it's a whole mostly all new faces. There's still some carryover. Doug's still here. Cody's still here. But we got Neil in the house. We have Nate in the house at this point in time. So, noon, we'll do that. We'll have, of course, our wrap up and I don't know if there's an emergency podcast for 5th starter. We'll be live for that too. So make sure you're, of course, subscribing, following along with all our socials. Anything else you wanted to say here? No, just excited to be here. All right. Me too. So we're here for the full week, 4 home games, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday night, we'll be live at the Cut for NS9 Live at 8 o'clock. So if you are in the Bradenton area, you want to come join us, definitely do so. It'll be a good time. And then outside of that, I guess we'll see you in like 3 hours. 3 hours. Yeah. How's it going, guys? If you see us at LeCom, say hi. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. Bye.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.